My name is Francie Doherty, Trustin, Macken, and I was born on the 7th of January 1943. My father was Michael Doherty and my mother was Bridget Doonan from Fermanagh, and I grew up here and spent all my life here in Trustin. People would have come from the neighbouring townland in Kinawley parish now, across the wee river there, and they didn't move into Trustin until about the end of the 1800s. And originally in Valley, way back in the 1700s, they would have come from Donegal. But there's none of that name now in Valley. Anymore, the last of them in Valley was the same name as myself, Francie Doherty, and his grandson was Francie Loney, and Francie Loney is the man that owns that farm now in Valley. The old people around this area, they made a lot of their own craft work, like baskets for turf and creels for turf and gathering potatoes. Most farmers usually make their own, though some didn't, but most of them did now. Make the creel and the round turf basket. It was all hard fires that time when I was growing up in the 40s and 50s. So the best way of carrying the turf was in baskets into the house, and the best way of putting them into crates, carts, or so to creel in the bog. So not much of that work going on now, but they kept it alive, and a lot of young people in recent years are taught how to make creels and various forms of baskets. And then the thatch for the thatched house, it had to be growing. It was usually rye for the thatch, but some people use oats as well. Oats was very nice colour and looked like a reef of gold when it would be put on, but it wouldn't last as long as the rye. Rye was a pale greeny colour. It was rye mostly used because it lasted longer. And most farmers were able to thatch their own houses too. And it'd be cut with a special little hook, sickle, very ancient farm. They talk about them in the Bible, the sickle. And it was used for cutting the corn, rye. And then it would have been lashed or thrashed to get the seed out of it. If you put the seed on and put it on the roof, it would grow on the roof at wet time, so it'd be taken out of it. And a good coat of rye straw would last about 10 years. And the same that would be done again then, another coat. But the thatched houses started to die out in the late 60s and early 70s. And in 1972, the thatch was taken off this house here, and these present roof was put on of asbestos slates. And as year followed year through the 70s, the whole thatched houses disappeared from this area. And it's rare now to see a thatched house anywhere. And it's usually something to do with tourists, or a grant by the tourist people. They have to keep another one going, they're keeping them alive at all. It's all modern bungalows now. But when I was young, most houses were thatched, and they were a very warm house. You'd never be cold in them, especially up in the loft. Or winter's morning, if there's snow, the thatch was that warm and thick of itself. It'll keep you warm. The first year the thatch come off here, I got it very hard to get used to the cold upstairs, coming through the slates, not like the thatch at all. This is cutting a turf and a Tyrone. Well, he was originally from Fermanagh and Paddy Montague. He wrote this poem about a day in the bog cutting the turf. A day in the bog you'll never forget. You can count yourself lucky if you don't get wet. For there's one place on earth I'd swear by my soul, be a cutting or wheat and you'll never be cowl. Now filling's a job on its own. If you don't know how to do it, you'll be safer at home. There's a knack in the shovel you need to know too, for if you're under the ground, and what will you do? Now this is a job, I'm sure you'll agree, a day in the bog's meant just for three. With two you're a hanging and four's a load. 3 in the bog's all you can afford. When the hunger it hits you, you think you're bait, with a tea in the bog, so that's all it's late. Then it's back to the cutting, the filling, the wheeling away. There's nothing as nice as a wee mug of tea. The sugar flow you've started along black ridges, and straight out of nowhere and attacked by the midges. Well, this I must tell you in my knowledge of your poem, when the midges mean business, you may as well head for a home. When the turf are all out, the work does not stop. There's turning and spreading and putting a lot. There's wriggling and clamping till your back it is broke. A good day in the bog, so that's only a joke. When they're ready for home and you think it's great, but just check out that cart pass before it's too late. Finally you've made it, your work is complete. They're in a stack or a shed at the top of the street. You can throw your legs up, lie back at your leisure. One good thing about turf, boarding's a pleasure. Paddy Montague's poem. I went to school in Killesher, the Crossroads School in Killesher. It's long gone now, but there's a new bungalow built where it was, at Joe McLaughlin, at the little cross there at Killesher. And I went when I was 5-year-old, and I quit at school just shortly before I was 14. And the principal teacher, all my years of school at that time, was Miss O'Boyle. She was a Sligo woman. And then there was another teacher on there, she was a Miss Mullanavy. She'd be Clary from down here in Macken, Clondavon. And spent them years of school, walked of course to it and brought a couple of cuts of soda bread and butter or jam for the lunch. And that get out on the road to play at 12 o'clock for a half hour or so. And usually quit about 3 or half 3 and go home, get dinner be ready for us. And I was at home after I quit school and helping here at where work was done on the bit of land. And when I was about 19 or so, there was a job on the road putting down water. First time the mains water was coming, and I got a job on it for 12 months, helping to put the water down. My father didn't want me out at all working, so after 12 months I had to stop that and keep on the land. So the bike was the real way of travelling then. It was 3 and 4 bikes about every house, and maybe more in some houses. But used to cycle a lot to places and football matches over to Clonus and Cavan and Herberstown and near a hand then. In 1960 there was a team started up here in Killesher, a revival of it. There were several attempts made to have a team in Killesher, but they failed after 3 or 4 years. And they started again in 1960 with the enthusiasm of Down winning the first All Ireland and Fermanagh winning the Junior All Ireland in 1959. A lot of the young people were wild to play football. And the team went well for 7 or 8 years, but again it collapsed, and the Killesher team is out of existence and will never come back. And there were some good footballers in it. They went to Kinawley and Benelec. Most of them wanted to play. I didn't play anymore. I played football no more when I was 26 or 27 years of age. A lot when I was young too, and started off, would walk down to the Arney River across the bogs and down to the Mack Road and across the main Derry Lynn Road at McGovern's there and into the Arnie River. Spent years at that, and it was a great place for fishing, and Salmon used to run it, and Father Gilmartin, that was the curate in Kinawley, he was a great fisherman. He caught several salmon, I seen them, and others too, Thomas Maguire, Patsy Leonard, Brennan Leonard, all them was caught salmon in the Arnie River that time. But I wouldn't be after salmon, I'd be after perch and pike, and you'd always get some fish in it. Then as I grew older, I got more adventurous, and I used to go then to the viaduct down here, Lochern, and it was a great place for fishing. And I had a spinning reel and baits and all, and those days I went down, I often got 4 pike. Because fishing was not good that time. I didn't want them. They were nice all right, but then too many, I used to give them away. And then later on I heard about a little river, long distance away between Culty and Bean. They call it the Unbrain River. And I went to it several times. I was very fond of it. You had a long walk in, and you had a long walk following the river down, and you had a very long walk in the evening coming home, walking back. But it was a great, after the little brown mountain trout, and they were a great fish. The taste of them, you wouldn't get the like of it anyhow. And I was very fond of that place for fishing. And the last time I went to fish there, John Joe the Puck was with me. That didn't turn out a great successful day, but we caught a few fish. And he was I thought him a great man, and he might have been near 80 years of age that time. He thought nothing of walking that journey, no complaints of any kind. Back when I was out with mum and groups, that'd be the 60s, sometime in the 60s, for lucky years. And then first they'd make the straw hats, put over your head to camouflage you, you wouldn't know who was under the hat. And then there'd be a musician, usually a whistle or flute player, and there'd be rhymes, and the whole group might be made up of 8 to 10 people. And there'd an act they used to do, and they'd go from house to house. They'd dance a bit, and someone would sing a song or reciting these poems. And then they'd put round a hat or a box to collect a bit of money when the act was over, and go on to the next house. And spend from 5 o'clock on Winter's Day till 12 o'clock that night at that. And usually on foot, and later years on bicycles. But, it was good pastime. And then a week or so after the mum and dad, they'd pool all the money and count it up, and they'd get a place and hold a mummers dance, and invite the people then that they had entertained to come to the mummers dance. And that's the way it ended. There's no mummers dances now, or they don't go around houses anymore, but they go to public places, because they're big high hats now at one of the houses now that knock down decorations and all. So they go to halls, or maybe out in the open to Enniskillen and Dame and all that. But they still have the tradition of straw masks and all. Actually, Mad Mummers now would be one of the best troops in Ireland, and much sought after. The one and only job over I had apart from farming was working out at a firm the name of McNichols's from Derry, from Dungiven in Derry, putting the water for the first time down the road here. We had no water in this area, or from the rivers, and carrying clean water from springs. So I got a job at McNichols's helping, and the diggers hadn't come out right that time. There was a big major tractor and a digger on it, and they dug the trench, and there was men laying the pipes, and then myself and other labourers were filling the clay back into them and keeping it tidy. And for 12 months I was at that, working. McNichols just wanted to bring me and another man from Kinawley, Packy Joe Smith, back to Derry to work permanently with the farm, but my father wouldn't let me go, and so I went back then to the farm, and after getting a nice steady wage for 12 months, I could have £9 and over it a week working, and the council wage that time was £5 out for the week. So I was far above the council wage. It was the first time any major work came into the country at all. There was very little work. It was all small farms and an odd bit of work in quarries, and the county council limited number. There was very little other work, and a lot of emigration during the 50s, the early 60s. The first thing after the bicycle I got was a motorbike. And we BSA 135 motorbike, and I was driving too speedy, or not, and me and Seamus Kirsty, he had a mini and I had a motorbike, and we used to be trying to speed one another, and I'd be over 80 on the motorbike and he'd be passing me in the mini, and no helmets or nothing. So it wasn't very good, that. But the motorbike then, Bob Fairhead, he used to come with a mobile shop van to the street here, and he hit the side of it and he knocked the kickstart out of it. And I had to bring it into Enniskillen to an old man who was going to fix her for me. And he took her down in several bits and dismantled her, and then he died. And my motorbike laying there. And I never took her back out of it. You don't know what happened to her. But that was ended me with the motorbike, and maybe just for luck, because I was reckless on the motorbike, speeding and not knowing the danger was there. I can't remember all the mix of cars I went through over the years, but I had Cortinas and I had Ladders and for a long time, and Reynolds, and now I'm driving I never was very good at cars or mechanical inclined at all. If somebody else was to keep on going. But I'm driving a little van now, a Vauxhall van, and I have her 10 or 11 years, and I wouldn't like to change to another. I'd get very hard to drive anything else now. Get used to them. I drove to Dublin in my time, and I drove to Belfast on motorways several times, but I wouldn't do it now. But the roads have got very dangerous and very busy. And a lot of big heavy lorries and traffic that wasn't when I started out to drive first. That's my story with the motor cars and the motorbikes. There's a wee poem about a band was in Kinawley, the mid 1940s it ended up in 1957, and it was the Robert Emmett's fife and drum band, and the leader would have been Francie Doherty, and a local neighbour was very fond of it. He was a poet, John Maguire, Black John Maguire of Cornagun. So he wrote this little poem about it. You're welcome to Kinawley, that grand Fermanagh town. So there's not the like in Ulster, like either up nor down. It is a famous beauty spot, the finest in the land, and crowning all its glory is the Robert Emmett's band. There's trainers P. Maguire from Enniskillen town. He's famed through all the province, from here to County Down. His ambition is to make them the best band in the land. A credit to Kinawley is the Robert Emmett's band. Their timing is superior, no matter where they roam. It makes me proud when I can boast Kinawley is my home. The have a fine tradition of airs but brave and gay, and your heart it sure beat faster when they strike up Patrick's Day. The music of them at band in old Kinawley town will thunder with an echo amidst hills of green and brown, and from every hill and dale they'll be talked through the land, and poets will for evermore sing praise of dear old Emmett's band. Black John Maguire's Bow.